Really excited about this one. Time for a new episode of Ingram's Skin Sessions, where we delve into very thought-provoking topics by encouraging brave conversations that are more than just skin deep. And today, we're delving into a brand new topic, the power of playtime.
That's right. And with diversity and inclusion coming to the fore, representation matters now more than ever. When children see themselves reflected in the people and objects that they interact with daily, this encourages them to be comfortable in their own skin, and this can have lasting effects.
Yeah. Now playtime is especially important for children as it impacts learning, imagination, creativity, communication, and I think probably most important, empathy, and should form part of their everyday lives. And there's beauty in diversity, and parents need to encourage their little ones to embrace and celebrate their own and others' individuality.
That's right. So joining us today are Toys with Roots founder Mpumi Motsabi and human potential and parenting expert Nikki Bush to discuss the importance of encouraging our children to be comfortable in their own skin. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. Lovely to be with you.
Oh, Nick, so good to see you again. And Mpumi, great to be connecting with you. I think you are doing something truly amazing and necessary in our country at the moment. I'm going to start with you, in fact, Mpumi. Your inspiration was sparked by your two daughters, and your range has expanded over the years to be accessible to children in South Africa and across the African continent. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about your inspiration, why you have selected the toys you have on offer, and how they encourage little ones to be their authentic selves, if you will?
So the inspiration was definitely my two daughters. I'd watch them put towels on their hair, flicking them almost as though they were wishing they had this long hair, you know, and it made me wonder whether they actually longing for something that they can't really have at some point. We decided that we're going to launch this range, I think purely from having observed also what's on the shelves. Yeah. On the shelves, there was hardly anything that was representing my children or celebrating them at all. Everything seemed to be almost like more Western, and I felt like they couldn't really relate to the toys. So when we started off, I actually met up with a lady who owned a set of Ndobentle dolls, and I loved them so much. And I thought, you know what, the universe is clearly answering my prayer on this. And I decided that I'm actually going to start. And I launched the dolls, and then later we expanded to puzzles, to books, etc., which we got from a couple of entrepreneurs from across South Africa. And it's really been a very important task, I think, for us, because we find that the parents that meet with us, that buy the products, find so much value in having products that celebrate their children. So when a child looks at a doll, for example, that looks like them with an afro like theirs, they don't feel out of place, but they feel like they actually matter too.
I love that. And it's now part of a movement,
yes.
Thankfully. Yeah.
I wish that was around when I was a child. I love playing with dolls, and there was never a doll that looked like me. So, Mpumi, I'm so excited for this range that you have. Nikki, my question is for you. As a parenting expert and a mom, how important is playtime for children, and what impact does representation have on building a child's confidence?
Yeah.
Well, playtime is everything. In fact, children are born to play, and it gives them the opportunity to engage with themselves as well as with others, to discover. And I think playtime really needs to be about discovery. That's what it is. You know, so often, and when we talk about the diversity and inclusion conversation, children grow up in the marinade of their parents' point of view, their parents' view of the world, their parents' past, their parents' history. And when children have the opportunity to play without adult intervention, and I say this like in preschools, you've got your fantasy play corner. When children have play dates, you know, parents need to be around to make sure children are safe, etc., but keep a little bit of distance as well to enable children to discover and work things out for themselves. And the fact is that children don't see color unless we actually put it in their faces, you know. And when you watch children from afar, when you don't actually interrupt the process, they just play. Play breaks down barriers. And that is probably one of the key things about play.
Parents, get out of the way. Let
Yes.
the kids do it, man. And Pumi, you touched on this a moment ago. Your Toys with Roots product range now includes children's books and puzzles. Why is the inclusion of children's books in particular so important to you, particularly those in African languages?
You know, we believe that children need to see themselves in the books that they read, in the toys that they play with, in the media that they consume. So as much as it's important that we stay out of the way, I think that it is also still important that we nurture or provide them with a wide range to actually look at, as opposed to one type. So for us, having books in the range is important because it is through seeing themselves in the characters in the books that the kids are actually able to say, oh my goodness, that one looks like me. That one is a hero and she's exactly like me, you know, and that inspires them to also dream bigger and also to feel like I can actually be anything, because look at that character in the book. She's like me, but she's so amazing. It's still important also to show the environment that the child is familiar with. In the village or, you know, in the city, and there's ukoko, there's umkhulu, there's umalume, stuff that is still familiar to the children, the African children. So hence we've got African authors, and the stories also always have African characters in them as well, with beautiful prose and, you know, uniquely African and distinct features.
Accessibility, yeah.
And Nikki, I wanted to ask you, as we grow, it is natural that our perception of beauty will change. What other areas do you need, you know, do you feel we need more diverse representation that could ultimately benefit children, especially from a foundational phase?
So I want to use the word mirrors. Playtime, preschools, primary schools, all the environments, the home in which a child finds themselves, these are mirrors reflecting themselves back at them. And so we need to be very aware of the words we use with children, and I think particularly of girls. And it's so quick to roll off the tongue when you see a little girl to say, wow, you're looking so pretty, you're so beautiful, I love your dress. We need to be tapping into the inner beauty of our children, boys or girls. We need to be reflecting what's going on in their heads, what's going on in their hearts, not just what it looks like from the outside or what they look like from the outside. So please, parents, teachers, everybody in society, be aware of the words you use around children, how you respond to them, and see them as a whole person, not just an outer shell.
Completely, I love that. Delve a little deeper, maybe feeding off that. And for me, language as a form of identity and representation is also very important for children. What informed the names of some of the Toys with Roots dolls, and how do you ensure that language is a relatable subject for little ones?
So language actually becomes a little bit of an issue in the urban areas, we found, because with children growing up in the rural areas, it's strictly their mother tongue that's usually spoken. So when you come into the urban areas where it's a mixed race relationship in some cases, you do need to drive a lot more emphasis on products and things which encourage language use. So we've created a CD which has songs, nursery rhymes in the African languages, and that's a fun way for children to start interacting with language. You know, it's not a strict Zulu lesson, but it's actually in terms of singing the songs, they're able to learn a lot more of their languages. And also the dolls are named after, they've got Tsonga names, Sotho names, Zulu names, so that the kids can see characters which are fun, that they can relate to, whose names are African. And also we've got Lali, who is a mascot, and she's named after, she's a shortened version of Mulalo, which means peace in Chivenda. So having characters which are fun and attractive for kids is important to driving language.
Very important indeed. I love that. Now, Nikki, we all know children are like sponges and they absorb what they see and hear around them.
For good or for bad, yeah.
Now, how can parents ensure that they do not pass on these preconceived ideas of, in particular, what beauty should be to their kids?
So at the end of the day, it's about us actually growing up and becoming aware that we are planting the seeds of difference. You know, it so boils down to what children hear and what children see. We are the role models. And we need to ensure that our children have play dates with all sorts of different children. We need to ensure that they go to a school where there is diversity and inclusion. There are so many schools working so hard at inclusivity and diversity. We need to support those efforts, not break them down.
Thank you so much. This is one of those times I wish we had like a 3-hour-long podcast to be able to delve deeper into this. So interesting and so rewarding to hear where both of you are coming from. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Mpumi. And you can join this brave conversation and tell us, how do you encourage your children to celebrate diversity? To stand a chance to win a 1,000 Rand voucher with Ingram's, simply reply to the competition post that's on the Expresso Facebook, Twitter or Instagram page, and with your answer, and don't forget to include that hashtag, your skin, your brave.
And you might also get first-hand advice from Bochang on Friday morning. This week's competition closes Friday, the 20th of August at midday. But as always, you can find all the terms and conditions on expressoshow.com. And thank you once again to both ladies who have joined us this morning for being so brave and taking us beyond that skin deep.
Nourish your skin with Ingram's Camphor Cream, enriched with camphor and glycerine. Trusted to restore and repair dry skin. Ingram's, your skin, your brave.